Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 video about this week's game update, i.e. November 10th, 2020 game update. In this video, I am going to talk about what is new and what's been fixed, previous bug fixes. I have a separate video about some of the issues that are caused by this game update and another one to do with the mod impact, i.e. most of them broke, but I have separate videos on that. I also have a blog post where I'll have links to the various videos that I've done with this update and links to everything that I've talked about, including the update notes, which I'm going to be talking about in this video, and any bug reports, listing where to find what mods have broken, all that fun stuff in that blog post. So to start with, one of the really big things that was new are platforms. So the notes have a lot of details about how you do platforms, a lot of written details. So I'm just going to really briefly try and touch on it. I am on a beach lot in Sulani, so I have a limitation as to what I can do. I cannot go down because we can't go into basements here. So I'm building it like a room. You could also just use a platform tool, which you can see there is a diagonal, square platform, and different shapes of platform tools there. So there's just a regular platform. So on there, you have the ability to move up and down the foundation just like usual. And you have the ability to lower the platform, but I can't go any further. It's just up a little bit, so let me go down one notch. But you can see here, unable to lower the platform, but I can raise the platform. And if I actually raise the foundation here, works differently. You click and drag, where here you just push it. You can lower the platform again until it hits the ground, and then you're going to get the floor height offset that I can't do it anymore. So you have this little in-depth thing. And you can do the same thing with just a regular wall. You can go up, and then again, I'm limited in how I can go down because of the fact that I'm on a beach a lot. One thing to keep in mind is that sometimes when you're trying to add a platform into an existing lot here, it takes the wall away. That's just the way it is. So if you're noticing that, just build the wall again, and there you go. You have your platform inside that's separate from what was there, and you have a wall. And again, you would do the same thing where you would move it up and move it down. And along with platforms, there are platform trims. So these are the variety here, and like in there you can see there's in some cases lots of different colors, and some of them come with different packs. They've expanded it. And we'll take a look at this. So you can see there it's on the inside, there's the brick, whereas if we go on here and raise the platform, now you see it. Let's get away. You can see it on the outside. That is separate from foundation trim, which is here, and obviously some of them are the same, but there are some additional ones, and you can do that. You can also do this, but just look here. If you do that and then you try and have it go down, it removes the stilt foundation. So you can't have stilt foundations when it's inset foundation. So I have used a little example here in the house. I put my fireplace up on a platform, and since this is Sulani, this particular trim, which you can see here, if I go back to the walls and empty rooms, that is this one in the red because we're in Sulani, and this is a island living from Island Living there. So that's what I used for that. So that was my use in this house for platforms. Not very much. The other thing that we got along with platforms is a lot more half wall heights. So I'm just going to have it so I draw them, and then you can see like there's just tons more than we had before. And of course you could place that, you know, at the edge. You'd obviously want something smaller, and then you can use any wall covering with the half walls as opposed to the what you're limited with the trims for the platforms. One thing though that I keep in mind when I use half walls in general is that Sims will often like to put their dishes and things on them. So you might want to keep that in mind. I often put half wall trims. There are the ones that come with Dine Out and Get Famous, and that stops Sims from putting things on it. So I don't know how much I will use the half walls unless they, changed it so that they're not drawn to that. So those are the first two things that are new. The other thing that is new is sentiments, and along with that, sim profiles have been added. So if we look here at my Addison, she has her brother Nico, her younger brother Liam, and then there's her youngest sisters who are twins, and Lila is her mother. So if we look, you can see she has this little thing that looks like a book with a little heart, and her Sims, some of the Sims have have that on it to show that she has a sentiment, I believe, though I did notice that disappeared. And this is where you go in and you can see it by opening your sim profile. And when I go into the sim profile, we can see that she has a sentiment about her mother and that she is adoring. She just wants the best for her mother and thinks she is so wonderful. So that is what she has. And you can see all the information about her mom there. Of course, she knows everything about her mom. Her brother, on the other hand, she has all of this information. He's having a bath because he's uncomfortable. He's pulled a muscle while he was working out. And with respect to the sentiments, I'm going to drag down. She doesn't actually have a sentiment about him, but we can see the sentiment that Nico has about Addison, and it's closer from happy memories. So that's one thing about sentiments, is that they're not necessarily two ways. One sim may have a sentiment about another that the other sim does not have back. So that is kind of it. Now, one other thing, even though he is uncomfortable from pulling a muscle, he's active. He wanted to work out. He has this playful +1 from Let the Good Times Roll, and this is from a sentiment from feeling close with someone nearby. I'm not a big fan that playful is one of these, because obviously Sims already can easily die from being hysterical, or it seems like that to me. Because of course usually being playful is boosted by other good moodlets, but I have had my Sims become inspired from these sentiments, and obviously they can have other feelings too. I have seen angry, I have seen sad in various, like in the live stream and in various screenshots people have shared about sentiments that they have had. I've only had the two that I've mentioned here. So that kind of covers the sentiments and the sim profiles. And with respect to skin tone updates, there were some fixes for Windows and Mac, because the update we got in October, there were still some issues, and that's supposed to be fixed. And console was supposed to get the update we got in October, I assume, with the fix. The 100+ skin tones and the sliders and the makeup sliders, that is coming December 8th. So that was not part of this update, nor was it intended to be part of this update. The other really fun thing that I like is the fact that we can now vacation in our regular residential world, though in order to do so, you need to place a lot or change a residential lot to be a rental lot. I suggest a residential lot because you probably want the location to have things Sims need when they're staying there. So you, unfortunately, from what I can tell, I took a regular residential lot, I changed it to a rental after I fixed it up a little bit. I saved it to my library, and then I placed it again in a different save. It does not retain that rental tag. You have to, it becomes residential again. So you have to place it and then change it to a rental. I can't even show you here, because I can show you. I'm on on a residential lot. And because my Sims are living here, they can either make it a tiny home residential because I have tiny living, or residential, and they couldn't make a tiny home because this house is too big for that. But those are the only options. So you need to make sure that you go in to any lot that you may want to make a rental lot, and then just select that it's rental. So I'm going to show you how that works with our Addison here. So she's going to pretend to take a vacation. We're just going to take whoever comes up. Her mother can't go. Her mother is in university. So she's going to finish her recycling, and then we're going to get a pop-up for where we can go, because I have already placed some lots in this particular save and mark them as rentals. So here you go. I have the packs that already have destination worlds, and I have placed at least one lot in each of Windenburg, San Myshuno, Brindleton Bay, and Sulani. They don't obviously need to go to Sulani, but I placed one here anyways in case anyone else wanted to come to Sulani. So I'm just going to show you San Myshuno in particular, because you cannot make apartment lots rentals. They can only be actual lots, i.e. any residential lots, which includes penthouses. Let's just go and see it. So here we go. This is the lot that I have made, rental lot, and you can see by the little sort of sun symbol over it, and I haven't placed any or made any other lots here rental, but you could easily make the old salt house or that lot, anything you put there, a rental lot. Same here with this particular penthouse. And there are other lots that have community lots on them that you could turn them into residential lots if you wanted to and make them a rental. I do not believe you can do that with the park, because I think that's a locked lot in terms of what it is, and it can't be converted. I'm going to cancel because we're not actually going to go on vacation. I just wanted to show you that. So the other thing that we got is we got some toddler slippers. So let me just pause so not too much time is going. Our little Charlotte here is about to have a nap, but we're going to take her into Create a Sim by saying we're going to modify her. And she already has some slippers on in her sleepwear. So there is what she has on right here. And then you can see when you look that there are 15 different colors of slippers that our toddlers can now wear, which is quite cute. And we're just gonna go back out. The other thing that we got that is new for those who don't have City Living is everybody now has access to the S-Pop station. Let's see, it's right there. And for those who have City Living, the music that came with that station is still unique to those who have that pack, but we all got new music. So those who have base game only have the new music, and those who have City Living have the new music added to their existing S-Pop station. So that is another fun new thing. So one thing that wasn't noted as new but is new is if you take a look at your Sim's Simology, their traits are now at the top. They used to be at the bottom. So they have changed the order of the Simology tab, which I quite like, because I used to minimize the other stuff because I'd be like, I don't want this here and I don't want to scroll down so much. So now you don't have to, because it's all at the top. And if we take a look at her little brother, who is still a child, you can see that underneath the traits, if you have parenthood, is the character value, so that they're still pretty upfront for you to look at if you're monitoring them, which I like to do. So that's a thing there. The other thing is in your game options, there are some changes here also. And in particular, there used to be a different spot for different packs, but now instead it's pack settings. And in there, you can either minimize or make it bigger. So I have Get Famous, and I don't have it where Sims Begin opted out of Fame. And here for Eco Lifestyle, I always have Enable NPC voting off, so that only my Sims vote, except for in the saves where I'm exploring Eco Lifestyle, because I like to control what neighborhood action plans get in. So that's the main thing that I noticed there, but just this looks different than I remember, but Seasons still is all on that one. Seasons is under weather, it's not under pack settings. That's just one thing to consider. So there's a weather tab where Seasons is, and I'm expecting, I don't have Snowy Escape yet, that maybe there's something there for Snowy Escape. I don't know. I'll find out soon enough when I download the pack and add it to my game. So that's really the new things with this game update. So now I'm going to touch on some of the bug fixes. There were many bug fixes, but I'm only going to talk about some of the things that I saw people commonly ask about, i.e. that they had those issues in their game. So first off, for the base game, freelancer Sims can now complete gigs and be paid. So yay for that. You no longer, if you were using it, need the mod by Louis Sim, who had a freelancer fix. So that is gone. And another thing I saw people often asking about is the Nano can touchless trash can. When you, as the player, put garbage in it, you used to get paid. That stopped. Now, we look here. We have 6 Sims in the house, and I got 60 simoleons. Yay for them, of course. So that's been fixed. So that's good. Very, very good. There was an issue with gardening plants where some of your plants would shrink back and look like the harvestable, like sage would look like a piece of sage, and same with basil. And that should not be happening anymore. They should just continue to look like a plant. Hopefully that also means there were some issues where plants were turning into dirt piles. So I'm hoping that also got fixed, because that was sort of the bug title was with respect to that. And another thing is, I don't know how well this was fixed, but they say Sims, NPCs wandering around, or even sometimes your own Sims when you're not playing them, they would come and they look like they were in horrible outfits, mismatched, accessories didn't go. They've tried to fix some things behind the scenes, so that is not supposed to happen anymore. Now, they do say that Sims should no longer ignore the kitchen sink and dishwasher to wash their dishes in the bathroom sink. I can't say I've noticed that. My Sims are still using the bathroom sink in this house. I don't know if it's the layout of this or what, but yes, they are definitely going to the bathroom sink here. One thing that I have seen that many people have asked about is they get this message that Sims can't marry another person because they're in their employ. This is supposed to be fixed. Now, it was never that the Sim was in their employ. It was because the Sim who was trying to marry the other Sim, even if they were already engaged, they had other romantic relationships. And so somehow that would cause this message to come up and you couldn't get married. And that's supposed to be fixed. You're supposed to be able to have the Sim have other relationships and still be able to get married. With respect to toddlers and children, there were some fixes. Adults can now teach toddlers blocks. That was broken recently, where the adult or young adult or whatever would start teaching the toddler, and then they would walk away. The toddler would continue, but they wouldn't be being taught by the adult, and you no longer had the option to offer to teach them. That I have not tried it with this particular household, but I haven't seen anything to the contrary about it not being fixed, so I'll assume that it is. And then there was an issue where children were unable to learn the adult skills, or it was random whether or not they learned them. Usually I found if you max a skill and had them learn them all or start them all right away before you exited your save or had them travel, for the most part, that would work. Not guaranteed. That shouldn't be necessary anymore. And I have actually tested it with our little one here. He maxed creativity and I had him learn the violin skill right away, but then I saved and exited and went back in and I had him learn some of the other skills associated with creativity, and he was able to learn them. Now, speaking of which, those adult skills don't unlock until you max the underlying child skills. So, i.e. with creativity, once you max creativity, you can learn things like violin and piano, which are base game. If you have city living, you can learn singing. If you have Get Famous, they can learn the media production skill. If you have vampires, you can learn the organ, I think is what comes with that pack. I don't tend to use that very much. But one thing that I did notice that is different than how it worked in the past is in the past, if your sim child was learning with the violin, when they max their creativity, it would automatically switch and say that they had started to learn the violin skill. What I noticed still needs to happen is you need to stop the child from playing the violin and start again. That was true of a few different skills, but not all skills. Now, another thing that a lot of people have commented about that they had issues with is that when your Sims were playing games, they would never end. Things like chess or cards, or depending on if you had certain packs, if you have kids room stuff, Void Critters or Journey to Batu, the Sabak, they would just go on and on until you stop them. That's not supposed to be the case anymore. And also, if you have a child who's working on the WizKid aspiration, that also means that they can easily complete the play 3 games. You don't have to like monitor it and essentially force the issue by having the Sim playing with them cancel, because that was the workaround, but you don't need to do that workaround anymore. And one other thing I have had a few people ask about was if you're playing on low graphic settings, when you zoomed out of a toddler's hair, they would have a bald spot, and that's not supposed to be the case anymore. The bald spot is supposed to be fixed. Now, there are also a lot of fixes across the various packs. One thing with Get Together that I saw a lot of people asking about was there's a couple of windows and a door that when you place them, they would look solid, and that shouldn't be the case anymore. That's been fixed. Some things with seasons and plants that have been fixed, including certain plants couldn't be planted inside in freezing weather, but now they can be. And another thing is that I know I have experienced this, that sometimes I disable the weather, and in my build save in particular, and I would still get weather every now and again. But the reason you did was because there was a mysterious weather, and you would still get rain and thunderstorms and things like that. But now that's been fixed, and you're not supposed to get weather when you have weather disabled, regardless of whether it's a mysterious weather day or not. And one thing I did see a lot of people commenting about with Eco Lifestyle or asking about or seeing issues, that if you have a Sim with the Recycle Disciple trait and they aren't kleptomaniacs, they should not swipe household objects as often. They still will, they just shouldn't do it as much. I personally just avoid that trait, and if I have a Sim or start to play a Sim with the trait, I use a retrading potion or a cheat to remove that trait, because it's not a trait that I particularly like, and I don't really want them taking my own things. It's okay if I tell them to recycle things, but I don't want them to choose what they're recycling, so that's a thing that I prefer to avoid. And there was an issue where eco footprints were like flip-flopping from green to neutral, and that's not supposed to change as quickly as it was doing. So, but like I said, there are a lot of bug fixes across all the various packs, so I do suggest, if you're interested or if you notice that you had a bug and you were kind of wondering whether it was fixed, to go take a look at that. But the ones I touched on were ones that, as I said, I have seen a lot of people commenting about or asking about that they have had issues with, so I'm just touching on them here. Let me know what your favorite part about this game update is, or your favorite thing that was fixed, or let me know about both in a comment down below. Or head over to my new Facebook group and let me know there, or share some screenshots too. That would be fun. I will leave a link to that in the description and also in the pinned comment. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! This has been Jennifer. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. I'd love to see them. If you liked the video, please leave a like. And if you'd like to see more videos of challenge, let's plays, tutorials, and occasional speed builds, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks very much!